And I just try to prioritize my time on those things. And kind of the things that you eliminate, they kind of shake themselves off on their own. Like I wouldn't really say you need to eliminate this, you need to eliminate that. Like if you're really just focused on the things you need to be focused on, those other things kind of fade away and they become not important anymore. They're not priorities. But the number one thing you need to get rid of is just what other people think. I mean, if they're not on board with you trying to do something more with your life, then they probably don't deserve to be in your life.
Yeah, I think that it reminds me a little bit of a story I've used a lot. I was having a conversation with a guy that raced motorcycles, and he was talking about how when I forget the speed, but it was something like 108, 110 miles an hour. He said your field of view at that speed is like the size of a quarter. Right? Your brain can't register that peripheral because it's moving so fast. There's a diagram that says, okay, your brain can register at 45 miles an hour and then 70 and then 80 and 90 and at 100. And I've always thought of that with like where you're at, Shawn, when you're pushing hard like that, you don't have to eliminate things, because if you're going 110 miles an hour in one direction with 3 priorities in your life, and that's like your family, your business, and your hobby, which is not a hobby, it's an obsession, right? But if you're going 110 miles an hour in a direction like you are, your peripheral, emotionally, physically, you just cannot even register the bullshit, right? So when somebody calls you, they've got some shit they want to drop on you, you don't even have to tell them you don't have time for it. It just doesn't even you're gone before it hits the ground, right?
Yeah, totally.
And I agree with you that you don't have to do a whole lot of eliminating if you have such a singularity of purpose in what you're trying to do in your day, and you go. Little John walking through the forest, laughing back and forth at what the other has to say, reminiscing this and that and having such a good time. All right, man, this is getting easier and easier by the day as we record these, but just want to tell the family hi. Thank you for stepping on and listening to the FOC podcast, Front of Center, where we're talking to men and women that are just leaning into life and doing things a little different. We love talking about hunting here, outdoors, everything. Shawn really epitomizes that. So we get Shawn Melland on today, who is absolutely leaning into life. And so you've got me, Brian Trainer, here in the FOC studio, my brother Tyrell.
Good afternoon.
And we got Shawn Melland on out in Montana. How you doing, Bubba?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Very good, man. Good. Well, Tyrell's going to knock us off with a couple of just intro questions, just so we can get a feel for who you are. We know you well. But for those people listening that don't know you, brother, I just want to get them a little familiarized with you. So let's Tyrell, hit us with a couple of questions. Let's find out who Shawn is real quick.
Yeah, thanks for your time, man. We really appreciate it. But we're just going to start with where you're at in the world. Geographically, professionally, where's that 10-digit grid?
Yeah, so right now exactly where I'm at is in just my little shop here in Bozeman, Montana. That's where I live. It's where my home is. So pretty sweet place to live if you're into bow hunting. So right now, like day to day professionally, I'm a co-founder and president of an oilfield services company. We operate in multiple states across the Rocky Mountain region. So that for the last 5 years, that's taken up the bulk of my day to day for sure. Outside of that, we have my wife Savannah and I have four kids. The oldest one is a senior, and the youngest one is going into 3rd grade. My older son is going to be a sophomore. Competing for varsity time in football, and our middle daughter is going into 7th grade. So we're a really competitive family, super busy. Between work, between sports, and then between my own individual pursuits, man, we're pretty much rocking full blast year round. So, which is awesome. I mean, that was my dream to have a family that was competitive and passionate about stuff. And so my wife and I try to push them, whatever direction they want to go, we help them. And, but yeah, that's where I'm at. And that's pretty much what keeps me busy. The majority of the time. Other than that, it's strength and conditioning and bow hunting. That's it.
Yeah, dude. No, just, there's a million questions in there. I mean, brother, 4 kids is crazy.
Yeah.
I've got 2 and it feels like a lot, but you've got that one that's a senior. So it sounds like you have a daughter that's a senior and a son that's a sophomore.
Yeah, we went girl, boy. So oldest is a senior daughter, and then next is my sophomore son, and then our seventh grade daughter, and then our little guy Rush. He's a third grader. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome. We had kids really young, which I mean, at the time, everybody probably thought we were crazy, and we were. I mean, and you know, it wasn't like they were all like totally like we had life figured out. I mean, it just kind of happened, and we had to grow up quick, right?
Yep.
But then now, you know, I turned 40 at the end of this year. You know, with my oldest graduating, and by the time I'm 48, my youngest will be out of high school. So
Yeah.
now it's like pretty sweet, right? Like we're gonna have my wife and I will have a lot of freedom on the back half. Hopefully, if we stay healthy and stuff like that. So that's but it's a lot of fun, man. I love it.
How is it having that senior girl? I've got a junior daughter, and it's funny because you and I are you're like a really fit version of me, right? You're about my size, but you carry a little less chubby on you than I do. I'm a thick boy, but I always thought I'd have to threaten the boys when they came over, but it's not really that way. I have to like give them like it's gonna be okay. Nobody's gonna kill you here. You know, you can have dinner with our family here. Sit at the table. Don't be scared. You know. And so I don't
Yeah,
know what you experienced that way, Shawn, but I've had to. It's been different than I dreamt of when I was young. You know.
I think it's honestly, dude. I've used the same tactic in business, and I think you'll understand this perfectly because, like, when you're a big kind of imposing figure, you know, a lot of times people immediately like might be kind of intimidated by you. You know, like when you walk into a room or they meet you the first time, or you know, whatever they've heard about you, like, oh, you know, he was a athlete and you know, big hunter, whatever, big weightlifter,
Yeah.
all this stuff. Like, well, all the narratives they have about you, and then also with your physical presence, like they have something built up in their mind, and then you just hit them with like kindness and being super cool, and it kind of shocks them right away, and they're a little bit confused. That's why I like to pounce. That's why I take advantage of them. You know, that's where business negotiations and also any boys that come sniffing around, you just hit them with kindness. They totally don't know what to do. It puts them in a confused state, and then from there you just kind of control the situation. So
Yeah. There's something definitely there around that size, like that juxtaposition of size, and then just by simply not being an asshole as a big guy. I think people
yeah,
expect, especially guys like us, that we obviously spend a lot of time like in the weight room, and so we show up, and I think they just think this big bro, you know,
yeah,
and then to show up and just be really soft and gentle and very kind.
yeah,
It's like a trick for people in the business world.
yeah. But no, it's an adventure, man. Like the senior daughter is. I mean, and luckily she's amazing. So that takes a lot of the difficulty out of it. But yeah, it's I always like to leave a little element of mystery though. Like you know, maybe they don't know for sure what all I do. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Hang out with
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of like interesting people. Like to just keep it a little mystery that way.
Yep. 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 Absolutely. And Tyrell's on the other side of that. You got the.
Yeah, I'm like a little guy, so
Oh yeah. I was
I'm
talking
pretty
about your
far from it.
daughter.
But like, who am I gonna?
Because your
So,
daughter's young, not you being little. But Tyrell is small. He just finished a 100-mile run this weekend.
yeah, I'll just have to.
He he just came off of doing a 100-mile ultra.
He's gonna outlast, and he'll live way
Oh
longer than
yeah,
both of us.
and live
So
way longer than both of us.
We'll
yeah,
see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Um, yeah, no, I was just saying that being a little guy, it's funny. What am I gonna do? I just gotta win him with charm right away and
Dude,
make him think I'm just crazy eyes or something.
in your
Yeah,
eyes,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Like I don't know, a little squirrel over here.
Yeah,
you just gotta hit him
yeah,
with perseverance, man. You're just always gonna be there. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Nice. What else you got for sure?
Yeah, I mean, basically kind of answered a lot of the next question we were going to talk about there, but I'm sure there's other pieces out there that you can expand on. But what's the tribe look like? Who are you supporting? And then most importantly, like who's supporting you?
Man, yeah, the tribe is a pretty crazy thing. I would say uh, up until probably about 5 years ago or so, I was pretty reclusive, and it was basically just family, just my immediate family, and you know maybe a couple close friends, and I just kept it that way. No social media, no a pretty antisocial, in general, was just kind of like, there was a long time there kind of like post athletic career where I just didn't really want to be around anybody, so kept the family really tight, but also kept like really focused on like personal goals and business goals, and it made a lot of progress during that time, but like socially made zero progress. So, and then within like the last 5 years, honestly, since I met Bert for the first time, and kind of just like, like he does, opens the door to, he's like, oh, you need to meet this guy, and he's kind of a great connector that way. What a gift he has with that. And I know, there's a bunch of us that would say the same thing about him. And now like the bulk of my tribe and my circle have been, a lot of the incredible humans that I've met through Bert and his network, whether it be in the strength and conditioning side or just kind of all kinds of high performers. There's definitely a few outside of my family. There's definitely a few, close friends here in town as well. But the one thing I can tell you about the tribe is, man, it is a bunch of high performing motherfuckers. And if you don't have your shit together and you're not getting after it, you're going to feel like a piece of shit, because just hanging around those type of guys and seeing what all they're doing, it's like, damn, like even if you are kicking ass, you still feel like a piece of shit around most of the guys, right? Because like everybody's just doing so much awesome stuff. But then other than that too, they keep, hold you accountable, right? You see everything they're doing, and they're encouraging and gassing you up. And man, I think that's just it's been a blessing for me these last 5 or so years. Really kind of welcoming in a tribe and not being so, shutting myself off so much from the outside world. Been a huge blessing for me, and I've benefited a ton from it. And so I also try to give that energy back to all those guys and the people in my family and everybody else as well. So yeah, it's a big deal.
100%.
Yeah, I think that's, it's funny because, with the podcast, we've had quite a few people that we've met either at Winter Strong or through Winter Strong, Shawn. And I think that that group of men, it's come up almost every time I've had a podcast with those guys, but just men and women, sorry, but the caliber of human that is there, just the savage kindness, and the amount of love that goes up in that space. It's just it's kind of a trip, man. I don't think people quite know just how to really like kind of take it all in, right? And I think you leave there going, I want to do better. I want to be better. And then, from that tribe question, like, how do you create, how does a guy like you or I or Tyrell create a tribe like that in your own community, right? With your own men.
Right.
We've done a pretty good job around here. We do a thing. We kind of stole the name from Jocko, but we do a thing every other Wednesday called Muster. And it just has ended up being sort of a men's group, not a church group or anything like that. Just a men's group. We meet at 6:30 every other Wednesday, and we talk about everything in life. And today's topic was suicide.
Oh,
and
damn.
Yeah, bro, we went deep. We went really deep. And in that group, the men that have kind of dealt with that and gone through that, and just getting to be real as a man and have those conversations, and having that kind of tribe around you where you can say, let's have those real talks,
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I think Bert does a great job of, just surrounding yourself with people. Cause I think that, I don't think a lot of men have a good group of men, especially men that can, for one, that like you said, like that are freaking savages, and then also will call you out on your shit and then give you a hug when you go at the same time. Right. Like that is, that's such
it's really important. And, the funny thing is it's, there's such like a juxtaposition with guys like us and guys in our network, where like people look at us and be like, man, like dude trains his ass off, like really high achiever, has accomplished all these things. And they think, just from the outside looking in, it's like that's a guy who has all his shit together. But you never know. I mean, inside they could be feeling, completely lost, completely alone, completely empty, wishing somebody would ask them some questions, wishing they could talk to somebody about something, and that was like, I mean, for multiple years, after I got done playing football, that was me. I mean, I was hurting bad, and just, the way we're wired is just to handle it ourselves, right? So we just internalize everything, and we're we're dealing with it on our own, and it's okay to do that. Like I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Like I made a lot of personal progress and accomplished a lot of shit just internalizing my pain and kind of using it for fuel. But it doesn't mean that I didn't want somebody. Like, man, during that whole time, I would have loved to have somebody who I had like a lot in common with to really just
Yeah.
talk to, you know? And
Yeah.
so like, yeah, within your own community, one is, yeah, like you have your circle. Like, you know, I've got my buddies that I train and hunt with.
Mhm.
And it's really just two guys, but like at least once or twice a week, we'll get to train together. We'll get to shoot together. You know, and then the fall, we're helping each other out, trying to be successful in the field. Just that little small accountability group right there. And don't get me wrong, it's a small group, but those are high achieving motherfuckers. You know, like these are dudes that are really kicking ass in life. So it's like a tight group that moves fast, and trust each other. And it's just like, I don't know, dude, that's like a really beautiful thing to have. But one thing I'll say is, like, one of the things that a lot of us have is we're passionate, right? We're really passionate about, you know, a lot of different things. Like passion is kind of that thing that whatever we decide we're going to point it towards, right? Like maybe at one point it was athletics, you know, maybe it turned into, you know, business, maybe it turned into bow hunting. Maybe it's just like super passionate about, you know, how you set up your family for the generations to come. Like there's all kinds of things you can be passionate about, but to have,
I think it's all of
like,
it at the same time, Sean. Like
yeah,
we'll
true.
touch on that, but you and I came from the same thing where that athletic pursuit went away, and you go, okay, I need something that's really, really hard, and I'm probably going to fail, right?
Yeah.
And so that's on that, and business does the same thing for you. So, but keep going, because I want to circle back to that here in a little bit, but because you got your tribe, you got guys that can hang with you, and they're passionate about those four things or more, right?
Yeah, and I think what I was getting to with that is just like, you know, don't be afraid to share your passion. So like one of the things I love doing is if I see somebody, and I don't care what it is, right? If I see whether it's a young kid, a young athlete, you know, grown up, whoever, you know, if I see somebody who I can tell is passionate about something, I want to help that person like immediately, right? Like when you see that passion in someone else, you identify and you relate to that, and you're like, damn, that's awesome. That person is like getting after whatever the thing is. And so you want to help that person, right? And so I think too, just, you know, being able to recognize and identify those people that are getting after it. And it might look a lot different for a lot of different people. I mean, they might not be an elite high performer, right? But they're somebody who's really passionate about whatever it is that they're doing. So be able to recognize that and to be able to lend a hand and, or, you know, some advice or just show them by doing whatever the case is, but just being open to, you know, lend your passion to somebody that you recognize that in as well, I think is one way to kind of grow that tribe and use your gifts, right?
Yeah, dude. And I think that the drive, like you show, and I get to see it, and I've seen it in person, and I see it on the social side, but it becomes a bit of a self-weeding garden, Sean, I think, where in a great way, it makes other men really uncomfortable to be around you, or even to be around our group of men. I've seen it with, like, you know, our table, we sit around, where guys will come in and they'll stay for one meeting and then they never come back again, because it can get awkward.
Yeah.
Really real conversation, you know? And so it's like, if you're driven and you go, no, I hold the line, right? And I have a standard for what I expect for myself and the men around me. The tribe becomes sort of that, like I said, I'll say it again, that self-weeding garden. And I think for me, it's just an effort to like have my son. I always think my metric is if I eat shit tomorrow and my son has to go see, okay, look around and go, what's a man supposed to be? He's only 13. He's got a long way to go. There are a number of men that he can lean on and go, oh, okay, that's the example, right? Between my brothers and then the men I've turned into brothers around me, I have no doubt he's going to be just fine, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I would assume you're doing the same thing, because you would be really, nobody's going to want to hang out with you, Sean, if they're not pushing, right?
Right. No, for sure.
What do
I
you
mean,
do?
I love that.
What do you do when you get tired, bud?
When I get tired, I don't know. I mean, I get tired every day. So I don't know. You just keep going. There's really no other option, right? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, dude, I mean, for us, I mean, and for me, dude, I've simplified my life so much that, I mean, it's really just a couple things, right? It's my family, my business, and my personal pursuits, right? Like that is it. And I mean, there's honestly nothing outside of that. And that on the surface that might sound kind of boring, but it's like that right there with hyper focus
Yeah.
is insanely busy, right? Because you're always pushing towards something. I mean, like I said, whether it's just even just chasing the kids around and supporting them. Like I said, we're really competitive as a family, so everybody competes, everybody supports each other. Or if it's just like my wife and my kids understanding that, like, hey, it's September, like that's dad's, like that's his time, and them just being like, hey, he's going to go do what he loves to do, and he's going to come back a better man. Like everybody having that understanding with each other. But man, getting tired, like, dude, everybody gets tired. You're not going to do anything great in your life if you can't push through getting tired. So just understand that's the way it is. Like anything great is hard as fuck. And like anybody who tells you anything different just probably hasn't done it, or is just absurdly talented way more than me. So that's the only way I know. That's what I can tell you.
Yeah. I think you get used to it, right? I think you get to the end of the day. There are so many days where I get to the end of the day and I've done it. It's like riding a roller coaster. The first time you ride it, that first big loop-de-loop is scary as shit, right? And once you've gone on it enough times in business and life and in marriage and in, like for you in the training and hunting world, I think you go to bed, you go, I know I was on the loop-de-loop a little longer than I thought I was going to be today, but I'll wake up tomorrow and I'll be ready to go again. And you just kind of just get used to that reset of going, just leaving it on the field sort of every time you go out there every day. Right. Yeah. And that's kind of where my approach is too, is like, especially if you own your own business. And I think you do, Shawn, but there's an infinite number of things left to do at the end of the day. And it's the same with fitness. You've never done, like, you could always shoot more. You could always lift more. You could always maybe go on another half-mile ruck or something, or stretch or ice or whatever it is. You're never done. Right.
Well, that's kind of the beauty of it, right? Like that's what really attracts me the most to strength conditioning and bow hunting. There's two things that you can never perfect. Like the potential is unlimited. So you can never win that game. You can compete your ass off every day to reach your maximum human potential. You're never going to get there. Same thing with archery accuracy, like with hunting, like, dude, it's never ending. And that's like the beauty of it. Like every day you get up and you're like, man, I can't wait to go do this training session today. I can't wait to get to the range, whatever it is, because there's just infinite room for improvement. Like to me, that's the beauty of it. Like really process driven person, to where I have to, like, man, you have to look forward to whatever the work of the day is. And especially like you being a former, right? Like, so when you're preparing for the Olympics, it happens every 4 years, right? So you got worlds and you got nationals, stuff like that. But still, even that's like every year, right? So once a year, and then the big one is 4 years.
Between Pan Americans, and then you have some world championships, and then the Olympics. Yeah, every 4.
Okay, right. So people understand, like, that is a long fucking time to wait to do the thing that you work your whole life to do, right? And so like with hunting season, right? Like I get one chance a year to really go, get off the leash and go do the thing that I love to do the most. So like what I feel like I'm just absolutely built to do, right? But that is one time during the year. So what the hell are you going to do the rest of the year, right? Like you have to have those things to chase year round to keep you active, to keep you engaged, to keep you motivated, to keep you on track, all that stuff, right? Because, it could get pretty empty out there if you're looking around at the end of your whatever your season is or whatever your thing is, and you're like, fuck, I got 11 months before I can do this again. Like, now what? That could be a pretty empty and lost feeling. So yeah, man, gotta have that daily mission. Stay engaged.
Dude, absolutely. And there's so much good stuff in there, Shawn. I mean, I have some questions around just like, you've simplified your life. What are the big things you had to give up that, because I think everybody knows it's easy to look for the things, like if I watched you, I can create a kind of a to-do list of how to train like you do and how to focus like you even could give, like you have good examples about even how to practice shooting and what you're doing. But I don't think there's a lot of guys talking about like, well, what do we give up to get here? Right. Like what are the things that Shawn has left behind to become what he is? And I mean, so a young man trying to chase the dream like you are, I think what's the honest answer to that? Go, hey, bud, there's some things you're not going to get to have,
Yeah, dude. The number one thing you got to leave behind is what other people think, man. Like that that right there, you just need to let it go. You got to, if there's something that you really want to do with your life, you should just be focused on that. And it doesn't fucking matter what anybody else thinks. Because guess what? Most people, and especially a lot of your closest friends, are going to think you're crazy. They're going to be talking shit behind your back because all of a sudden you've changed and you're focused on this thing. And listen, man, like the hard thing, and unless you have like amazing friends, and this is kind of how you tighten up your circle as well, right? Is they're honestly not going to support that because they don't want you to go level up because that leaves them in the dust. I mean, they want you to be down there where they're at. Everybody has their own way to live their life. But for people like us, we want more and we want to compete and we want to achieve. Yep. And it's not for everybody. It's not. Right. So, but we find each other when we start doing that, right? We start kind of, editing our life, right? That was a Kobe saying, right? Start eliminating, basically all the things that aren't contributing to you making progress. And look, I'm not saying all the things. I love a cold beer as much as anybody in America. Like I still love to have cold beers. Like I'm not gonna, I'm never gonna give that. What was it? Was it Bert Kreischer? I think he was like, I love beer so much that I'm never gonna not work out so that I can always have beer. Yep. Like I completely agree with that. But it's not like you're not going out to the bars. You're not, staying out all night, getting wrecked, stuff like that, right? You have to have a little more, you have to have some self-control and some discipline with that stuff if you want to stay on track, right? So, I mean, I'm very far from a perfect human being. I can promise you that, but I am really focused on the things that matter. And I just try to prioritize my time, on those things, and kind of the things that you eliminate kind of just like, they kind of shake themselves off on their own. Like I wouldn't really say you need to eliminate this, you need to eliminate that, like if you're really just focused on the things you need to be focused on, those other things kind of fade away and they become not important anymore. They're not priorities. But the number one thing you need to get rid of is just what other people think. I mean, if they're not on board with you trying to do something more with your life, then they probably don't deserve to be in your life.
Yeah, I think that it reminds me a little bit of a story I've used a lot. I don't know where I was at. I was having a conversation with a guy that raced motorcycles, and he was talking about how when I forget the speed, but it was something like 108, 110 miles an hour. He said your field of view at that speed is like the size of a quarter, right? And he said he said what happens is your brain can't register that peripheral because it's moving so fast. So if you look it up, there's a diagram that says, okay, your brain can register at 45 miles an hour and then 70 and then 80 and 90 and at 100. And I've always thought of that with like where you're at, Shawn, when you're pushing hard like that, you don't have to eliminate things because if you're going 110 miles an hour in one direction with 3 priorities in your life, and that's like your family, your business, and your hobby, which is not a hobby, it's an obsession, right? But if you're going 110 miles an hour in a direction like you are, your peripheral, emotionally, physically, you just cannot even register the bullshit, right? So when somebody calls you and they've got some shit they want to drop on you, you don't even have to tell them you don't have time for it. It just doesn't even you're gone before it hits the ground, right?
Yeah, totally.
And I agree with you that you don't have to do a whole lot of eliminating if you have such a singularity of purpose in what you're trying to do in your day, and you have clarity. And it's such a wonderful feeling when you can really get there. Because when your feet hit the ground in the morning, you know exactly what you're doing, right? There's just so much clarity in this is my objective, right? And if you're not my wife or my kids or my business or my bow, and you don't support one of those 3 or 4 things, then you're out, right?
Yeah, that's true. And dude, I was going to ask you about this too, because, kind of on the same line of thinking of like, when you're getting close to like, say you're getting like to the point where it's time for, say, like the Olympic trials, right? Like that's the big one, right? Like you gotta go do your thing there to make your dream come true, right? So like when you get to the point where you're within like, say, 2 weeks of that, there's not a lot of physical adaptation that can occur in that time, right? So it's almost like the only thing you can do is fuck it up at that point, right? So right? So it's almost kind of like, you kind of get this almost like hollow feeling when you're really close. When you're training, you're like, I can't, there's only so much you can do. And I'm kind of in that spot right now with
right. You're good, bud. With you're in that spot with going with the hunt. Yeah.
Yeah, with bow season about to start, like that's where I'm at. Like everything's perfect. The hay's in the barn. Like I've done everything, right? Like I've prepared
Yeah.
as good as you could possibly prepare. Like I am completely ready to go. The only thing I need to do is get groceries, load the truck, and go. But I have 2 weeks, so I'm like, how can I focus and like make these 2 weeks count? And what? How can you focus on certain details? Focus on more precision, more strategy, more intent. And still leaving all that stuff in reserve that you're going to need when you finally do get off the leash and cut it loose here in a couple of weeks. I mean, I wanted to ask you about that because like I know I was talking to
Yeah.
Bo Sandoval.
Yeah.
We were talking about this yesterday, and he's like, "Man, I've seen that in the eyes of so many fighters, leading
Yeah.
up to like the point where it's like you're so close, but it's still like a week or 2 weeks away. There's only so much you can do right there. So it's like managing that mentally.
Yeah, I think that I think it's hard. You know how it is, Shawn. You tend to really focus on your failures and like where I messed up and all of that so many years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for me, it was always so much about the preparation and having to hit some Olympic standards and things like that. So where I found that I really messed up is I was so focused on what was in front of me right there and the training and immediate like what the metric for that week or that month, and I hadn't taken enough time to put all that down and go to the day of,
Right.
and I thought I was, but I wasn't really doing a good job of like, okay, what is okay 2 days before, right? I'm going to fly out. I'm going to have the hotel. What's my routine look like the 2 days before, the one day before, day of, and then so
Yeah.
on and so forth, right? And
You were
so
so
that's where,
focused on each day that,
yeah,
yeah.
the distance, the tape measure every day, right? It was only about that. It was because if you have 5 different areas from anything from nutrition to strength to mobility to technique to just the mental aspect of it, right? To the point where I would get in the ice tub and then I would spend a week of meditation or visualization on just my left foot, for example, right? So I would get in the ice tub, excuse me, and spend the 5 minutes in the ice tub and only thinking about, okay, there's a rock and it's under the ball of my left foot. And as I start to rotate, I feel that rock, piece of sand or whatever, grinding between me and the concrete. And I can still to this day, all those different meditations I would do, I can feel them, right? And
Yeah.
it's the same with the bow. Like every time I shoot, it's the same thing. It's not just that old ass beat up 1/3 size elk out there, but you know how it is. It's like, okay, bull's moving through, shadow under his shoulder. You know what I mean? His head goes down. Nope, never mind. Right.
Yeah.
All of it. And so you visualize it every draw through, settling in, settling in. Okay, imagine I'm trying to range and I can't because my heart rate is so high, and
Mm-hmm.
I just walking myself through that. And so you do all that to prepare. And I think where I failed, and I'd have to think for a minute on how it applies to hunting, but it's that it's what I did a really horrible job until like my third Olympic trials was I didn't do a good job of thinking, okay, this 3 days prior, right? I put the hay in the barn, so to speak, but now I'm here. Now it's the moment. Now it's the travel. It's all the things that come in that I kind of forgot to think about. What's my nutrition look like while I'm in the airport, right? What's my hydration look like? What am I going to do recovery day when I first get there? Some of those things, right?
Yeah.
Um,
No, for sure.
and then it was always, I think every Olympic trials, it was just getting that, especially my first one. I was 24 years old, and just that first throw, I wanted it out of my hand so bad, right?
Oh
I'd never been
man.
on a big, right? And I just like it was a total flub, and then I had nothing but work to do, and ended up making the finals that year. But just going like, I just want this disc out of my hand. And I remember getting in the back of the ring, and it's a lot of like that first time when that first elk is bugling in your face, the first time you draw back on a bull. But I go to take it, like get ready, warrant, like I wind back, and there must have been 35 cameras there, and all of a sudden the cameras just start clicking, like tick, 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 and you
Like,
just like,
oh
holy
shit.
shit, I was not ready for that. And so and I think with elk hunting, it's the same thing. I tell guys, like, you think you're ready. The whole Mike Tyson, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face, right?
Yeah.
But you think you're ready until there's a bull literally looking through your soul and
Yeah.
bugling at you, not out to something else, but he's like he's like, where the fuck are you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just bugled. I'm here to kick your ass, right? And he's just talking
Yeah.
shit. So it, yeah, man, I think that There definitely is that. And what a wonderful feeling. I can tell you honestly, I don't have that feeling this year, right? I had a surgery in February, had tendons replaced in my foot. It's been a road kind of getting to where I feel like I'm okay getting in the woods, you know?
Yeah.
So fitness, conditioning, it's not where I want it. It'll be fine. But I'll
You'll be
just be
good. It's a
moving.
get back on track here, man. Get back on track here, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So it's okay, and it'll be good, and it'll fuel. It's not to think too far ahead, but it'll fuel next year's fire, no doubt about it, right?
Oh,
Like
100% it will.
that setback, and just getting there. But you know how it is, bud. Like you've probably had years where I had a year where I don't want to talk about the area, but me and you have hunted it in Montana. Both of us, I know because I've seen pictures. I'm like on the right where Sean's at, and there's big ass bulls up off those fields, you know, and but I was solo and it was hot. You know what I mean? There's not a tree to be found right where I'm standing. And I'm like, I'm just going to move slow. I'm out of water and it's a long way to get more water. And I was moving almost like I was injured, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But ended up almost putting down a really nice bull because I slowed down. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
slowed down. I had to protect my energy and it changed the way I hunted. And I learned a lot from that. Right.
Yeah. Yep.
And so, yeah, that's the good that comes out of that. So, Tyrell, did we have, you know me, I love talking it. I'm fired up.
Yeah,
I want to talk about hunting with Sean, but I want to make sure we got a good understanding.
What's the day to day look like? Kind of got that picture painted already too.
Sounds like it, man.
But like, what does that look like?
Yeah. I mean, the day to day right now we're getting pretty close. So basically trying, as a business owner, you try to set everything up so that you can have freedom to go do your thing. Right. So kind of getting all that stuff teed up. And yeah, with the kids starting school and sports and everything, like there's a lot going on to try to like get all that set up as good as you possibly can, which my wife does most of, but I help however I can. And then really trying to set her up for success, which to be honest, she sets herself up for success the most. So I'm not going to try to take a bunch of credit for that. She's pretty much rock star with that. But yeah, then with like the preparation side, like leading up to it, it's man, like how many times can you play the game within the game before the game starts, right? So like getting those, like we talked about, those real intentional reps, getting in those kind of those game time situation, those game time movements. How many times can you put yourself in that environment before you're in the actual environment? I mean, that's what we learned that playing football, like play the game as many times as you can before you play the game, right? And even with scouting, it's not like that's the thing I've been doing more this year probably than prior years. Hunting an area this year that is, man, it's a pretty diverse area. I have some experience there, but I'm trying to really uncover as much as possible and learn as much as possible in that area, not only for this season, but for future seasons as well, because it's a place I want to be in for a while. And so yeah, been getting a ton of scouting rips out lately too, which is huge. Getting in those scouting reps. I mean, you're basically getting like, dude, last week, I essentially stocked a bull where I imagined he would be, and he was exactly where I had imagined he would be in a place I'd never been to in my whole life, and it's a fucking giant. And it's just like, man, so trusting your instinct, going through that whole progression, and it was like late in the evening. It would have been super easy to just kind of hang it up and go to bed in my camp and start over the next morning. I had like an hour tops of light left, and I had like a really significant climb to get up on a plateau, and then like a mile through like some thick gnarly shit that I'd never been through before. And I'm just like, man, I think I can get there, and I just really, really want to know what's back there. It was just one of those places. It was just like, oh man, I was so fired up to see it for the first time. And with the sun setting, I was glassing with the sun, or I would be glassing with the sun from the vantage point that I had picked out. And so I'm like, no, I'm going to send it. And so I haul ass all the way in there, and I pop out on my pin that I had dropped on this big rim. It's just a steep cliff and a big, huge box canyon that kind of flows out, and really thick brush and stuff in there. And 244 yards below me is an absolute giant standing there in an open meadow. And it's just like, it was unbelievable. It's like it's almost like I just manifested that thing to be there. It was insane. But so like that right there is such a great lesson, of playing the game before the game, where man, like because that happens all the time during the season, right? Like where it comes to that kind of weird part of the night where nothing's happening, maybe right where you're at, and you're kind of your guts pulling you to make a move, and whether you do or not could totally change the outcome of your season. So like that's one thing I've learned is to really just trust my instinct and trust my gut, and there's a lot there's a lot deeper stuff we could dive into on that and what I think that really is. But
Well, I want to hear. I have my theories too, because I've thought a lot about that with our connection to the animals. So I think I know what you're saying, and I want to hear it, dude. I want to go there because this bull behind me is not a bull. I shot him, but I didn't harvest him. Right.
Okay.
I found him like almost a whole mountain over the next year.
Oh shit!
And my
That's
arrow
insane.
in the bone pile. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I had just got done telling the story that I think you're going to tell about our connection with these animals when we're out in the woods. And so let's go there because I want to hear.
Did you feel something pulled you to find that thing a year later? Guaranteed.
I believe so. I mean,
yeah,
you have
man.
to think about, I put my knee down in just the dirt. His bone pile was over here and his deadhead was over there. And I put my knee down to take my pack off in a random area in this chunk of woods. I mean, it was obviously not random. It was next to the deadhead, kind of 15 feet away. And the arrow hits my knee and just pokes up at me and looks right at me. And it was just this much of the shaft of the arrow. And I never in a million years would have been looking for that arrow.
Dude, that gives
of the bull.
That makes the hair on my arm stand up, man. That gives me chills.
Well, I still had some of the same shafts in my quiver from the year before.
Wow.
That year. Yeah. So
wow, that's incredible.
I do believe there's a connection. I wasn't on a trail, bro. I had chased a bull over a ridge, lost him kind of like, late morning, they're moving off to bed and just couldn't catch up, couldn't play. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't get around to play the game. Lost him, thought I'll sit down and just eat my lunch, and started walking down, just bushwhacking through the deadfall and stumble into this bull. And it was my bull.
That's a one of one story, man. Like that's insane. Wow. That's crazy. Awesome that happened though. And yeah, that had to have kind of made you do some thinking.
Well, it always does. And I've continued to believe that, man, I want to hear what you thought. Cause I don't want to influence what you had to say. Cause I know I think. I'm here to hear what you think.
Yeah. I'm pretty, I get firmer and firmer in this kind of belief each year. It feels like the more time I spend like really immersed and really like the first time I really started feeling it was when I was first kind of getting to at least some level of mastery in bow hunting elk. I think it was my 5th straight bull over 360. And I had shot him the night before right in the guts. I just made a bad shot. I mean, the wind was blowing like crazy. No excuse. It was just, I did not make a great shot, buried it right in his guts. And he didn't go far. He went right down, like straight down the hill into the bottom of like a really thick, like willow draw with like big pines at the top of it. Mm-hmm. And I just left. I didn't pursue him that night. I knew it was an evening shot. And I assumed that he would die that night. And I would go find him in the morning. So I left him that night, and the next morning I got up and
and just you didn't at all, bro. I mean, those are the right. You're laying there, replaying your shot over and over in your head.
It's just the absolute worst. And I sat on that bull for like 9 hours that day. Like you can't be more like checked everything 100 times, right? And then finally, make the last move and then make a bad shot. It's just, there's nothing worse. But that next morning, I get out right at first light, and I get in the bottom of the drainage that I saw him go into. Right away in the morning, it's cool, and the thermals are running right down the bottom of the creek in my face. So I'm working slowly up this draw, and it's like barely first light, right? And kind of just that late September, like really crispy, cool, overcast, just barely getting light morning. And dude, I'm walking up the creek, and dude, I feel him staring at me. I'm like, he knows I'm here and he can see me. Like, I felt that. I don't know how to, like, it wasn't like the English language telling me that, but it was like, I felt it. I don't know what else to tell you. I felt that he was looking at me, and I stopped, and I kind of just gathered myself for a little bit, and I was looking around slowly, dude, and I look over to my left, literally right over my left shoulder. He's standing there 30 yards away, staring at me. Just standing up, broadside, staring at me. And I turned, and he just kept staring at me. I mean, he 100% knew that I was there to finish the job, and he let me. Like, he let me do it. He wanted to go. And so I put that final arrow into him, and it was over. But like, completely felt him. And that was the first time that I felt that. And then since then, it's happened multiple times to where, and I've talked to, I know, Sean Havis, the Raised by Sharks. I've
never talked to him.
The videographer. So he jumps in the ocean at night with fucking great whites and films them like face to face. He's a maniac. But
no,
I had a great conversation with him about it, because I was like, man, like, I said, have you ever felt like a giant old one before you saw it? And he was like, dude, he's like, yes. He said, especially in the dark, because like he said, which a lot of times he said, like, a lot of the fish around will just boom, disappear. But he said, you can feel the energy completely. And then boom, a giant will appear out of the dark. Which, can you imagine that? Like, just sitting on the ocean floor at night and just you feel a giant great white coming. Like, holy shit, So he's crazy, but I think that is a little different too. And I think sharks, I don't have experience with them, but they're an apex predator. I think that's a different energy. Plus, who knows, water. I don't know. It might be even like a stronger transmission of the energy in the water with a predator species like that. That's prehistoric. And putting out those vibes through the waves, literally. But a big bull, dude, I've had it many times where I've felt them, and there's been times that I swear to you, like, they know I'm there, and they let me go after them. Like, I know they know I'm there. Like, just the way they've behaved. Like, one that I stalked one year, like, he would pop out of the trees just enough for me to see him, and he would fucking look at me and then go back, but he never ran away. And I'm like, he knows I'm here.
Right.
And there's been other times where I've made big moves for no apparent reason, just felt it, and boom, there he is, just like that bull last week. Like, made a huge move in a place I'd never been to before, just felt absolutely pulled in that direction, and there he is. So I do think there's an energy, but I think you've got to be pretty tuned in and pretty immersed. Most of the time when that happens to me, I'm like basically in flow state, fully immersed, and it happens. And I think there's something to that, right? Like, we've been apex predators on this planet for a long time, right? And I think the way we live our lives now, it pulls us so far away from that, right? Like, our day to day, we don't get to be that apex predator every day, right? So when we get out there and we give ourselves a chance to immerse for a little bit and kind of get in that flow, right? Then all of a sudden you start feeling these things, and your gut, right, starts pulling you.
Feel that where, like, okay, like your ears, you start to see them kind of tune in, and then you start to smell everything, and it's like day 3 is kind of always that day where you're out there and like, okay, I am freaking tuned up, right? Like, everything turned on, like every sense is in that sixth sense, even of just like, just the feeling of the ground and the connection, and you're hearing absolutely everything, smelling everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it is cool to feel ourselves kind of turn back on like that, because I think in here everything's so easy, everything's so convenient. We just turn off all those senses and we just don't need them. I don't think it's us
for sure.
Our body's going, I don't need to be thinking that hard. This is
Yeah.
easy, right?
Yeah. No,
Right.
and I think it's for me, like that's the drug is getting into that, like, because there's an elite space of flow in there somewhere, right? And
Yep.
like once I felt it the first time, it was the first time I felt anything remotely close to what I used to feel playing football, right? When you're
Yeah.
when you're in that chaos and you're sorting through traffic, like especially playing linebacker, right? It's a predator position. Like I'm hunting the ball carrier amidst chaos, and it's just like that was the most electric feeling on earth. And nowhere else have I experienced anything close until the first time I got into true flow state with a bow. And then every year since then, it's just like, man, that's what I want more than anything, is to get into that. And you know, like we're lucky within our tribe. Like we've got some pretty unique individuals who have pretty wild experiences, like in the military, and you know, some different crazy stuff that those guys have done. But I've talked to multiple of those guys who have had experiences where, like, I mean, describing time slowing down to the point where they're watching a bullet coming out of a barrel. Like things have slowed down so much; they're in such a hyper flow state, and so, and that's a completely different realm. But it's the same space where we're allowing our mind to kind of tap into that other level that we just can't get in like everyday life. And you can get a little bit of it training, I think, sometimes, right? Like when you're really locked into like a hard training session,
A little bit.
you can get a little bit of flow there, right? Where
Yeah.
everything else kind of fades away. But
Yep.
other than that, man, it's that hyper focus space, where you're processing everything at, you know, a million miles an hour, but not thinking at the same time. And it's just like
Right.
this beautiful, it's like the most beautiful thing in the world. And like that's what I just want to get back to every time, right? Like that's what you look forward to.
Yeah, dude, I agree. And you're right. Like it's at a cellular level. I always tell people like it's either you either jump off a cliff, you can go to live music, um, you can make love. You know what I mean? You can
Yeah.
drive 100 miles an hour, or you can go hunting, right? And it's like there's not that many things that I feel like that they stop the busyness. I feel like Chris, like especially in today's world where everything's busy and it's bouncing all over all the place. And I
Yeah.
think that happens at the cellular level here. And I think there's just a couple places in life where all of that stops, or all of a sudden it goes in the same frequency and it just does this, right?
Yeah.
And it's just on like, and elk do that for us, right? Like it's just that like from a
Yeah.
frequency standpoint, we are in that where we're just there, and it's just a vibration that's just it's like that's all you got. And
Yeah.
for sure, there's frequency there, dude. I mean, it's funny. Like we believe, like obviously everything we're doing here, this is all wirelessly. We're connecting. We've got a little box that's
Right.
in, but
Right.
like it's still that frequency's in us as well, right?
Yeah.
And
No doubt.
so when you're out in the woods experiencing that, I agree completely. I believe the animal chooses us. I really do, right? I've got one too many stories of, you know, a mule deer years ago where I had started to kind of think this through like this, like I think the animal chooses us. Um, I'm walking some ridges. I pull up my binos and I'm like, I think there's a deer over there. And it was quite a ways off. And I pull up my binos and the deer stops on the top of this ridge, kind of like probably 4 drainages from me. And he looks like right at me. And then he turns over and he walks over the ridge. And I'm like, okay, I'll go shoot you. You know, and that sounds horrible. Somebody's probably gonna listen and go like, okay, well, that's not a spiritual connection. But I thought, okay, I'll go harvest. I'm going to do this thing. And I've also thought too, if we, well, let me get to this and I'll get to the next one. But it is exactly how I said. I went to that ridge. I looked over the ridge. He was bedded, shot him, didn't even get out of his bed, just laid his head down and died.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just felt like a script had played out. Right.
Waiting for you. Yeah.
And I've had the same exact thing with a bull that I had shot. He surprised me, came out at like 11 yards. Right. And I drew back, shot him in the guts, which is like, you spend your whole year shooting like 85, 90, getting dialed, and then it's 11, So
Yeah.
I shoot at 11, I make a bad shot. He goes to 74 yards, and I make a good shot on him at 74. And he goes off, I see him bed down. And he's not a big bull, but I go over, and I kind of stalk in on him, just kind of watch him. I'm moving into, I get to where I have a 40-yard shot. And he picks his head up and he looks right at me, kind of like your big bull did. And it was just this exchange of him going, all right, we've done this. And it was weird. I'm not going to tell you I believe in reincarnation. We're going to come back as a bull elk. Bro, it was almost like there was an old hunter in there looking at me going, like, good job, bud. Maybe first shot, you could have done better there. But he just picked his head up and he looked at me, and I put one right in his heart, and he just looked at me and just like laid down. And it was this exchange of him and I kind of having a conversation. Back
no, that's real, man.
And it's just a trip. That leads me to my question I want to ask you, though, is that bull was small, and I still consider myself a novice hunter after 12 years. I've only shot three proper bulls. Shawn, how do you balance that, man? Because I know you're chasing just the monsters, right? And there's a reason for that. There's a reason, because you've figured it out. Like, you could probably go out in your first 3 days, and if not even that, as much as you've scouted, you could probably go out day one and shoot a bull. Maybe not a big bull, but why? I know why. But as young men are getting into this, and too many guys look at Cam Hanes and they look at Kip Fulks or you, and guys that are going, you're not. But when guys are going to the Deseret, or these big, and it's not that they're not, those elk aren't tied to a tree. They still got to work for it. But
for sure.
But these young men getting into it, and they go, well, that's what I'm supposed to do. It's like monster bull or nothing, right? Like, how do you balance that? How do you encourage them, but also go, well, here's why I do it. How do you explain yourself, John? Positive way, right?
That's a great question. And I would just say this, look, if especially for guys like just getting into it, and the way I started, because my first ever elk was a giant 384-inch bull, was on the cover of Elk Hunter magazine, and it's just been that since then. But I started elk hunting coming from like an insanely like shitty place internally, right? Like, I needed to find something that was so fucking hard that it didn't really give me a chance to kind of sulk in my own shit, right? So like, that's why I chose that. And then I built a life around that. Okay. So like, I live a different life. It is built to be able to accomplish this task each fall. If you want to know how to do that, and actually I might as well just tease it. I mean, there's going to be a pretty big film coming out about it probably this fall. We've been working on it.
You holding it back, or what do we got?
No, it's going to be called Thin Air. Soren X is working with me on it.
Good.
It's been a really fun project. But I'm diving pretty deep into the full process and really showing people like exactly how I do it. Without really holding anything back. And because like you said, I'm not hunting. Every single bull I've killed has been on public land. I don't hunt public land exclusively, or like, I'm not like a public land or nothing guy. Like, I will hunt all the private I can get access to. I hunt the best places I can hunt every year. I don't have endless pockets to book, crazy hunts in different places. And I also believe like I'm really passionate about being a hunter, not just going on a hunt. So I love that part as much as the hunt, right? So the scouting and the finding and the research and putting together the plan of where a giant might exist, and then going and vetting that out and finding them and finding multiples, right? And then building a plan to kill them. I'll tell you this, like for you young guys, like if you want to kill a big bull, just to put it in perspective for you, like if you really think you want to do this, like for one, I train like a professional athlete year round, not to bow hunt. Like I love training like that. Like, to be completely honest, I would do that if I didn't bow hunt, but I do train that way. So that helps a ton. But the biggest thing is, dude, like I live for going to find these things. So my best year ever, 2017, I found 21 bulls over 370 that summer. Okay. I killed a 394 6-point that fall. This summer, just last week, I surpassed that number. So this is my best year ever of how many big bulls I've found in a summer. 2 weeks ago, I found 9 bulls over 360 in 24 hours. Okay. So like, you have to be absolutely obsessed with this and just go get after it. And like I said, I live a different life that's built and geared for that. And I'm like super blessed that like everything I've engineered my life so that everybody in it understands that about me. If you don't do that first, like you have no chance. Like if your wife doesn't get it, if your job doesn't get it, like it's
Yep.
not going to happen. You're not going to have the time. Like you just can't do it if you're not that focused. Like, dude, there's 180,000 people that are going to come hunt elk in Montana this year. There's going to be 5 or less that kill like legit Boone and Crockett bulls. Okay, your odds are you have a better chance of hitting the lottery fucking twice than you do of arrowing a giant. So like if you want to do this thing, like man, you got to really be passionate about it. So one, I would just be honest with yourself, right? Like what are you really passionate about? Because dude, you know what's a lot of fun? Getting in the elk rut and just ripping with the bugles and running and gunning and going and taking down a great bull. It doesn't have to be a 360, right? Like that. Like trust me, there's times where I kind of wish I did that, because I'll be in the mix and just having the time of my life, but I'm just like letting them go over and over and over. So I mean, I think you just have to decide what you really want out of it. For me, it's way more. It's not just about it's not just that I want to go kill a big bull. It's that I need that challenge. Like I fucking need that challenge in my life. Those big old bulls represent that challenge for me. Like I could care less about the actual number that it ends up at. They're all going to be in a certain category, right? Like they're all big. Yeah. But it's what they represent, how hard it is to accomplish that, and how much I love that challenge that's everything to me. So I think, I mean, I don't know if I helped any young kids who want to hunt big bulls or hunt elk in general or not with that answer, but like that's just the real truth of it, man. Like that's the reality.
Tyrell's chased with me a little bit, and I think you're probably the guy I'm thinking about. Not that I'm anything special, but I mean, you're at the front end. You were in the Army for a while, and so when you came out, we kind of go, hey, you got to come hunting with us. So I mean, how do you see that from your perspective?
It's hard to. The reality is, it's hard to commit completely. It's not that hard if you want to, right? That's the thing that you commit to. But it's been pretty life changing the 4 years of just finding that time to it every year. Like exceeding over that's hard, right? Like getting more than
your 5 to 10 days, 5 to 7 days in the woods kind of thing.
Yep, the scouting and all that, and play it. And
it would help if we shot a bull. That way you could bring some meat home. And your wife would.
The wife would stop talking shit at least.
She would at least go, yeah, you can come again. Yeah.
Yeah. She's gonna hang in for a couple more, but it would help a lot. Yeah.
She's gonna lose her patience. We're gonna have to just send Tyrell home with a freezer full of meat, pre-packaged from everybody's bulls anything from last year. That way she can go, okay, he shot something this year.
But we've gotten closer, right? And that's the growth is noticeable, and that is fun and keeps it working hard.
Well, and I would say this too, like, I mean, most hunters are not like a psychopath like me and want to just do that, right? And like, which is totally like, that's great. Like, I don't hold anybody else to my standard, or I don't think anything less of anybody else who has a different standard. I like, that's just what I do. And so like, I can explain that. 2 things I'll say on that. One is, if you really truly like have that feeling, like you really just want to go, you want to chase giants, like you really are passionate about that. Don't let people tell you like, no, you need to start here and level up. I can't stand that. Like a lot of people said that to me, and they're like, just get a 6-point or this or that. And like, I was like, fuck that. That's not what I'm here for. So like my advice, if you truly are passionate about chasing giants, is again, just forget about what anybody else thinks, because everybody's going to think you're crazy anyway. So like, fuck it, but you got to just go do that thing. And the other thing I'd say about that is don't think that you have to go kill giants if you want to get into hunting, bow hunting, elk hunting, any kind of hunting. Don't think that you have to kill giants. Look, there's a pretty simple concept, man. Like, you need to, if you're going to kill a bull, in my opinion, you should kill a mature bull. Okay. That bull needs to be mature, old, 6 or older minimum, right? in my opinion, right? That thing has had a chance to reach maturity. He's had a chance to breed, pass on his genetics, all the good things. And he's probably, at that point, 6 is pretty young for me. I usually go pretty far north of that. But like generally that would be considered mature, especially in states like Colorado. 6 would definitely be considered a mature bull. You're kind of seeing what they are at that point, or what maybe they're going to be, right? So look, if you're going to hunt something with antlers on its head, in my opinion, you need to kill a mature one. If you aren't interested in killing a mature elk with a 6-point or something like that, kill a cow, dude. Like one thing I really don't like seeing is when guys just like they think they need to kill a bull for some reason, and so they go and they kill a 2-year-old bull that I mean, who knows? At 6, that thing could have been 360. And it's nothing on anybody who does that. I think it's kind of a lack of understanding and maybe like a little peer pressure. Mixed in, because they're like, I want to get a bull, right? Like people will think I'm cooler if I get a bull or, whatever. But I think truly, like if you should set your goal, if you want to kill a bull, make it a mature bull. If you can't get to that and you still want to fill your tag, dude, shoot a cow. You're going to get almost as much meat, and it's probably going to be better meat because they're not totally rutted out, So like, if that's what, like, because you see a lot of people that are getting into it for that reason today, right? They want that good high protein organic meat. I think that's a beautiful thing with deer, elk, whatever. Dude, the doe and cow populations in most areas are so much higher, and you can probably get access to hunt some really good places if you're just going to shoot a cow or a doe, right? Like, so you can experience and you can kind of get in the rut. You can hunt some places you wouldn't otherwise have access to, and you can learn a ton hunting the herd and picking out a cow, so that like maybe one day you're building points or something and you draw a trophy tag. You're like, man, I've hunted in herds of elk with big herd bulls before and taken cows out. Like I know kind of how they act. I've got some experience there. So that would just be like my PSA for, as you're setting your standards. I just think, man, like if you're going to kill a bull or a buck, dude, kill a mature one. You're doing from a conservation standpoint, from a herd dynamic standpoint, you're so much better off to kill that mature animal or take out, a doe or a cow, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree. And that's a great answer, Shawn. I think it's, because I think it can be misunderstood hunting those big mature bulls. People go, you're just hunting horns, right? And to the truth is you are, right? Like we are. Like if we pull a bull tag, that's the reason we're out there, is we're there to shoot a bull. So it might as well be a mature bull, right? And but I think not everybody's going to do, very few people in their life, Shawn, will ever do what you've done, which is what makes it cool to watch and cool to see. And it's why you want to pursue it, right? If it was easy, you never started in the first place. And so I think it's, it's for me, like you came out of a team sport. As you were talking, I was just thinking, I was like, for me, I think I really craved a team sport. So when I got into elk hunting, I really wanted to go with like a couple buddies, like my brother and a good friend that was teaching me how to do it. I think I've been craving that, like, I want to go do something as a team with somebody. And so I actually took sort of the opposite approach that you did. I had spent 16 years, as an individual, all by myself doing a thing. And so I kind of took the opposite approach, not really knowing it, right? Now that we're talking, I'm seeing it going, oh, I think mine was, I want to go with some people that were on a team together. And so that's the funnest part about elk hunting, is it can be a team sport or it can be an individual sport. And I can tell you, it's just as much fun to bugle a bull in or rake a tree and have that bull stop in a gap for a buddy as it is to shoot it yourself, for me, right? Like,
dude, totally.
What a blast, right? To go like, I got him. I freaking got him. Yeah.
The locker room vibes of elk camp with good buddies is undefeated. Like there's no doubt about that. Like it's because you don't get that chance, when you move on, past your athletic career. Like, I mean, you lose the locker room, and it's one of the biggest losses we have. Or if you're in the military or whatever, I mean, you lose that band of brothers, right? And so, when we develop these tribes and we kind of put together these these buddies that we hunt with and stuff, like, man, it's incredible. Like the locker room vibes in hunting camp are the best thing ever. Last year I got to be with a good friend of mine, former football player. He played for the Seahawks and the 49ers actually. He was on the old Legion of Boom defense when they lost the Super Bowl to Tom Brady when they should have handed it off to Marshawn on the goal line. Instead, they threw a pick. He played in that game.
Sir.
Terrible.
Tyrell remembers that.
Terrible.
Tyrell's a big sports.
We're Bronco fans here, so I wasn't too sad because they had just beat the shit out of us the year before.
So anyway, I don't know why I feel like I say that every time I talk about him, and I probably shouldn't because it's a not great memory.
The lowest as a team. I mean, talk about teams, and you're all 53 guys that I don't know. That's a tough locker room. I don't know where you go from there. But
anyway, he's a great friend, and we hunt together quite a bit. And I got to be with him last year when he killed his best bull ever, and it was like, dude, it was incredible. Like, I was front row. I was 5 feet behind him when he shot it at 30 yards. And it was unbelievable. And it was a really big bull. It was awesome. It actually just, he wrote a story for Eastman's. It just came out like yesterday. So that was super cool. Okay. Yeah. Really cool to see. And he tied it too in his story. He talked about, we came up with the elk hunting strategy we call stick and move, right? Which is an adaptation from our old life playing linebacker, right? Where you engage the block, you get off the block, and you pursue the ball carrier, right? So you stick and move. And we kind of developed a hunting tactic that we refer to as stick and move, right? Where we pop into a spot where there's action or there's bugling. We see what's going on. If it's not right or the bull's not right, if it's not something we're going to pursue, boom, we're bouncing to the next one. Like, we're just like stick and move, in and out. Like it's dogging elk, but we call it stick and move because we like to be meatheads. And but that right there, like, man, you develop your own language with your boys in hunting camp, right? And like you get back to reality after that, and you're trying to like use the same language around your other friends or your wife, and they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And you're like, had to be there.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's the best, and that's a huge for you to be able to share, because that's, I mean, you guys have a little longer season than we do. I want to say you have about 5 weeks of archery.
Yeah, we're 6 weeks. Yeah,
6 weeks. So, but to take even one day out of that, right, and share that with a guy,
it was incredible
experience, man. And so it's huge. I mean, I've had guys that we shared some hunt camp last year with a fella that I don't think really appreciated it, quite like he should have. And I think for him to leave and us to go, man, I don't think he quite knows what we gave up, for me to give up 2 or 3 days of my archery season. Those days are gold to me, Yeah. And so it's got to be a brother for you, a really dear friend to be able to go, I'll give you 2 or 3 of my days I've been thinking about all year long. Right. So,
oh dude, for sure.
How was last year for you? I don't think you didn't shoot the bull you were after last year. Is that right?
Last year was crazy. Last year was it was the first year that I really, really fully committed to. I mean, I was trying to break the world record. I'm like, I'm going to do that or nothing. And I just want to see what happens if I run it out, right? I got 6 weeks. Let me just see what happens. And I knew realistically that I probably would not do that. I knew that I would probably end up eating the tag, but I wanted to take a season where I tried to find the biggest bull in the state and try to get after him.
You've seen that bull?
What's that?
Have you seen that bull? Have you put a glass on him, do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I almost killed him.
Protect, you know what I mean? I'm going to protect what you do and all your hard work, but you've seen him, you think, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I almost killed him last year. Really close. So, but what's crazy? I'll tell you something that gave me a lot of perspective. So, and that bull I thought was over. Whether or not he would have broke the world record, I can't say for sure, but he was definitely in that category of, one of the top bulls ever killed with a bow and arrow. And I mean, I didn't kill him, so he's still
It
out
is.
there. But
Is he still out there, we think?
yeah, he's definitely still out there. Well, I mean, I think so. But anyway, after the season, the guy in Washington smashed the world record. That bull was like, whatever, 480 something. And it was for me to see that kind of like, it kind of changed my perspective a little bit. Cause I kind of had that in my mind for several years. I know you and I talked about that. Maybe the first time we met.
It was our first time we ever met. You told me, you looked me right in the eye and you're like, I'm going to kill the world record bull. And I was like, who is this fucking guy? But I like it. You're cocky as shit, but I mean, here, let's go, buddy. And but you back it up, dude. Right? It's not just some bullshit. And so you put your money where your mouth is. And so I'm all in on that. I love it. I want to be around crazy motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I do. The last thing I want to do is around a bunch of like non-player character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just robot. Right? So like, do some stupid shit. I love it. So how did it change your perspective seeing that guy? I mean, we've all seen him walking into Wayne's place at the what is it, the bow shop in Oregon, right, and the bow rack, and just all those different videos of that bull showing up over and over and over, and then all the shit he took for it. And I've never really heard the whole story, and kind of doesn't matter to me right now. But I mean, how did that change your perspective, brother?
Yeah, and I mean, you can. There's a lot of debates on whatever how ethical it was or how wild it was or any of that stuff. Honestly, I don't really care about any of that. I'm not here to give an opinion one way or the other on any of that stuff. But what it did for me was say, okay, so now the new world record is legitimately something that doesn't exist like in anywhere that I have an opportunity to hunt, probably ever in my life. Maybe someday, but you never say never. But like that's just almost like you can hunt the best, biggest, oldest bulls in the world, and they're going to be 50 inches shy of that thing at best. And so it kind of just put this, it kind of just made me think about it a little bit. And it shifted my perspective a little bit. And I'm like, look, who knows? Like, tomorrow's promised to nobody. What I want to do is just hunt really big old bulls every year that I can. And honestly, if one makes me excited, I know it's going to be big. Like, they're going to be in a certain category. But basically I could no longer, care at all about the world record or anything like that. I just want to hunt big old bulls every year. That's what I love to do. Eventually there's probably going to be one or two that are really, really big, but kind of once they get to that level where they're just big and old and they have wrinkles in their neck and their body looks like a propane tank and they still have huge antlers, like that's it for me. That's what I'm looking for. Anything like that, I'm going to be pumped with. So I think it just shifted my perspective, and probably a blessing that it happened, because I might have, who knows, drove myself crazy chasing something that doesn't really exist, So I don't know.
Do you think you chose that on purpose, Shawn? I mean, do you think you chose that? I think you chose to say, I'm going to chase that world record on purpose because you know that it's almost impossible to get it.
Yeah, for sure.
It had to be that big to make it fun.
Yeah, I think not that it had to be that big to make it fun, but it had to be something that, I mean, because you're right. It was like it had to be something that almost like I knew I couldn't accomplish, right? So that would give me something to continue to chase.
Yeah.
And that's definitely why I set that bar so high. And now, like, I've kind of come to a different place. This is my 11th year hunting elk with a bow and arrow. I'm trying to kill my 8th giant this year in 11 years. The 3 years that I haven't taken one, every one of those years has been because I was trying to break the world record or close. Right. And I just like that. I just thought about what I really love about all of it. Right. What really drives me. And it's dude, just getting the opportunity to go do the thing with those big old bulls. Like, that's it, dude. And whichever one I decide to, make a move on, I know I'm going to be happy with them, because they're all in a special category, and they all take a ton of work, and they all take pretty much everything. Right. So like that's really it. Like that's what I love. So yeah, it's like anything, I think it's a progression, and it's a process that you go through, and learning and figuring out what's important to you, what really matters to you, and what it means to you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that you can't really ever go, well, it's an equation that you do the work and you get the reward. It's not that way, but I think that there's definitely, when you do look at those young guys, you go like, you haven't bled enough. You know what I mean? You haven't tried hard enough yet.
Yeah, yeah,
Appreciate it. And there's always the guy that goes out first year and a bull walks into camp and he shoots it. I mean, they're still wild animals at the end of the day, and it's a crazy
yeah,
deal, which is what makes it great. But something I was thinking about you was like, you got kids that are kind of right on the edge of coming up. Have they taken interest in? I thought maybe naturally your next phase is going to be like, well, it's time to get my boy or my girl that big bull,
yeah,
right? Because once you do it
for
yourself,
sure.
how can you get somebody else to do it now, right?
Yeah, no, and it for sure is. I mean, it is. The thing that is tough, like, so like this year, my son, who's a sophomore, he has the same archery tag that I do. And I mean, he's dialed with his bow. I mean, he's definitely ready to do it. The problem is with football. I mean,
Football season.
We do not get really time. I mean, we might have 1 or 2 days during the archery season that I can sneak him out there with me and try to make it happen. And if we get that opportunity, we're going to fully send it. But it's tough. I mean, his priority, I mean, he loves competing in sports. He loves football. He loves his team. That's his priority, and that's his focus, as it should be. I hope someday that we'll have opportunities to be able to, hunt a whole bunch of different places together. But right now, and with all the kids, my older daughter's going to do a mule deer hunt with me in November, which she brought it up to me like, hey, I want to go do it. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I'm sure the younger ones will kind of follow that same path as well. But yeah, at the same time, like, yeah, they have other things that they're focused on. And so it's just trying to squeeze in that time when I can, but really allow them to focus on the things that they're doing right now too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that though, dude, like a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to be out there with them. I mean, yeah. And you hope they have the love for it. It's yet to be seen with my son. We'll find out. And that's fine too, right? It's my thing. It doesn't need to be his thing, but, dude, there's so much that I'd love to talk with you about. Of course, we're all sitting here. It's like, I don't know, what is it up there? 100 degrees. It's about that here. And so we're all dripping. You got to be hot out there in the shop, buddy. It's a little warm, huh?
Yeah, I actually got my fan going, so it's not terrible, but yeah.
Nice. Yeah. But just as we're wrapping up, man, part of the plan here is that we're going to circle back after. I am super pumped to circle back after your hunt this year. But as you go, as we kind of get ready to like kind of hang up here, what are you looking forward to, man, when we get back on the horn here, 7 weeks, 8 weeks from now? What are you hoping what do you hoping the conversation looks like? I mean, what do you want to be able to say? I mean, I think I know, but
well, hopefully I have a cold Coors Light sitting right here, and we're celebrating a great big bull that got on the end of my arrow. So I mean, that's what I'm hoping for, dude. I'll tell you what, like I've never been more prepared and more excited for a hunting season. Like I am absolutely ready to be off the leash and get after it. I think it's going to be an awesome year. Everything I've seen is looks super promising. I mean, from antler growth to the movement of the animals. I mean, it's an early fall here this year. Like the blackbirds are migrating already. The bulls are scraping their velvet off. Like fall has come to the north a little bit early this year. Yeah, they are for sure. I mean, that big bull last week was already hard horn, but yeah, dude. Hopefully, when we come back on here, we're celebrating a great season, and hopefully, you guys have gone and had some success, and we can kind of just rehash camp stories and success stories, and I think that would be an awesome time to be able to do that.
Agreed, brother. Agreed. So, well, dude, let's get to it. I'm pumped for the season, man. Thank you for I mean, it's a great motivator, man. Thanks for leading from the front like you do. In this space, I don't know. There's not very many guys I look at and I go, I'm going to try and train like that guy. So, from a body demographics, right? Like, I'm not going to go running like Cam Hanes or like Tyrell here doing 100 miles. That's not happening.
We're not built for
but
that.
I can do those sled pushes, right? Like, I'm down with the sled push. And give me a sandbag and I'll fucking carry that thing as far as you want me to. I love the pain of that kind of training. And so thanks for kind of setting the example for the big boys out there, I guess, is something to say. But dude, go crush it, dude. The last couple of years I've texted you kind of mid-season because I know you're out there alone, and I don't know. Hopefully it helps. I try and send like some encouragement your way and go like,
no, I appreciate
hang
it,
in
man.
there.
No, I do.
When you're looking up that ridge and you're all alone, it's a different game. It's a different game because there's nobody out there holding you accountable. You can go, I don't have to go over those next 3 ridges. There's nobody going to know. I could sit down here and eat my lunch and just tuck my tail and go home and go, well, I just didn't see him today.
Yeah.
But the truth is you have to make that decision to go over the next ridge.
What I hope, my wish for you and for me and for everybody in our circle who goes and gets after it in the bow season, my wish is that all of us tag out on something special the last day so that we can get the maximum out of the season that it has to offer. Like that's my wish for everybody, man.
I know. I was thinking that with you as like the worst case scenario is day one, that monster walks in front of you.
Dude, if that happens, I'm going to be the best buddy to have in the world because I'm going to be looking for places to go and help people.
Yeah, that's dude. It's been a couple years since I have not had a Montana bull elk tag. Just didn't draw this year with their new point system. It just kind of I ended up in an odd spot, and I got in on some decent bulls last year. Nothing like what you do, but I had that ankle torn. Right, both of those tendons on the ankle were torn. So it was dude, I had some pretty low moments last year chasing elk in Montana. That was kind of my low, my low of the year.
Yeah.
Just knowing it's torn, knowing there's no getting better without cutting it open, and it was rough. But so my buddies out there got to see kind of maybe the worst version of me, because it's just you want to be up there so bad, and when your body literally won't do it, it'll bum a kid out,
Oh, it's a tough deal, dude, and that's why excited for you to get out there and be able to get around this year. And like I said, GBOT season for you, get back on track and light the fire.
Yep. I cannot wait. And where I'm going this year, I've been a lot. I've spent probably 100 days in that chunk of woods, and so there's rocks, there's trees I look forward to sitting under. There's rocks I look forward to sitting on, and those certain I know already where I'm going to sit in class my first morning.
Yes.
I can't wait. And last time I was up there was a very big 7x bull that he's probably gone. It's been 2 years now, but who knows?
One way to find out.
He was a trip to hunt because he led his herd, right? Like he didn't bugle from the back, and he had a ton of cows. But he was, I don't know, Shawn, if you've seen this, but he was so fucking dominant that he would walk out in front of him and bugle, and they'd be like, "Yes, sir, I'm coming."
Yeah, just follow him.
And, he didn't do the whole round up the cows and push them back and go collect a cow or a calf here and there. I mean, he just started walking and bugling, and they were like, "We're coming." Yeah,
that's a pro move, man.
And he was hard to hunt because of it. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude.
Because you get in the wood, and you know how it is. You see movement, and you're hearing him bugle. And so you make a play on him, and now you got cows here, and all of a sudden 8 minutes later, he hasn't bugled, and then down in the drainage over there's you hear him crack off.
Yeah.
And you're like, shit, he's in front of us again,
Yeah. I mean, they get old and big like that for a reason, man. Like those things are crafty.
Oh, he's gone before you know it. He ghosted us so many, and that's we're just I remember sitting, and we thought we had him, and I had dude 22 yards, and it's just perfect. It's just cow through this drainage, cow. And I'm like, I will see. I mean, I'll see him, right? It's I can't wait. And there 15 minutes. I got cows walking within 5 yards of me. I've got video of it. And then all of a sudden, bugle down the drainage. You're like, he was already gone before we got here,
Yeah.
So, so I look forward to it. But, brother, let's circle back up. Hopefully we all have a banquet in our hand and a cheers, because there's nothing better than that post-hunt beer. Right. Yep. So, dude, thanks a ton, Tyrell. Anything as we wrap up here
No, I'm good, man. Appreciate you. Good luck with everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you,
Happy
Shawn,
time.
for coming on, dude. It's a sick conversation. So, again, guys, Shawn Melland. Shawn, what are you pushing right now? You've got the Thin Air video coming out. Are we, are people following us on Instagram, on the socials? What are we after, man?
Yeah, I think if you want to check out my Instagram, it's just Shawn Melland. Should be pretty easy to find. There's definitely some exciting stuff coming down the pipeline between the
Good.
film and some other projects that we're working on that I think people might think are pretty cool. We'll see. So
Well,
exciting
it's
stuff.
super inspirational, man. So I think people should. I mean, I do. There's not a lot of guys I look to for that because there's not a lot of guys that are actually out there doing it. So I think, yeah, if you guys are listening, go check out Shawn. Pick up some stuff because there's always something to learn, especially from somebody like you do this chase the big boys. And so, all right, man. Well, thanks again for the time. Tell your family and your wife thank you for letting us take some time out of your space, and we appreciate them as well letting us borrow you for a little bit. Okay, bud.
No problem, man. My pleasure. Keep in touch.
We will, bud. We'll be talking.
Okay. See ya.